All right, welcome back to Musicians Edition. Today we are looking at number 81 in the Mallet section of our Essential Elements book. And number 81, titled Waltz Theme, we're going to look at our time signature and key signature first, right? And we can see our time signature is 3/4, which is to be expected in something that's titled a waltz, right? So in a piece that's a waltz, it's going to be in 3 always, and it's going to kind of feel like it has a little bit of a lilt to it, right? Or a little bit of emphasis on beat 1 of each measure, right? So we're kind of thinking 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, right? So we're just slightly emphasizing the first beat of each measure and kind of de-emphasizing beats 2 and 3 of each measure, right? And that'll kind of come out naturally in the way that the rhythm is written in this piece, right? Our key signature, you can see we have 3 flats, B flat, E flat, and A flat, right? Which puts us in the key of E flat major. Now in our last video, when we worked on number 76, we went through and played our E flat major scale as a little warm up to get used to the collection of notes that we're using in that key signature. Great idea to do that with this piece as well, right? Always a good idea to work out the scale of the piece that you're getting ready to play. But especially if it's a key signature that's a little bit new that you don't have a lot of experience with, right? I highly recommend you do that before jumping into this piece so that you're nice and comfortable with the shape of the keyboard that we're going to use here, okay? Now, as we glance through this piece, we see we have a few leaps, right? And we talked about that a good amount in our last video as well. We have a leap from B flat to E flat, right? And we do that a few different times, right? You can see in measure 1, we jump from B flat to E flat. In measure 3, we do the same thing, B flat to E flat, right? And then if you look at the second line of the piece down in the second half, we do that jump from B flat up to F, right? So even a bigger jump in the second half of the piece, right? We do that 2 times, the first measure of the second line and the third measure of the second line, right? So I like to go through and kind of practice those big leaps and get used to it. It also gives you a chance to think about what sticking you need to use to get through those leaps as well, okay? So in measure 3 here, we're thinking B flat and then to E flat. Probably going to try to play that B flat with our left hand, right? Makes a lot more sense for that lower note to be in the left hand as opposed to the right hand trying to cross over, right? It's not to say you'll never do that, but most of the time when we have a leap, we want to play the lower one with our left, higher one with our right to prevent our sticks from crossing or running into each other, right? So we can practice that leap a couple times, B flat to E flat, and we see the B flat is a half note each time and the E flat is a quarter note, right? And each time that we do that leap, we're continuing on to F above the E flat, right? So we can practice that little B flat, E flat, F, that thing a few times, okay? Right? So B flat, E flat, F, okay? Once you're comfortable with that, let's look at the leap in the second half of the piece. So first measure of the second line, we start on B flat. Again, we're going to use our left hand for that low note. So B flat, F, and then the note after is G, both times that we have that leap in the second half of the piece. So B flat, F, G. Let's practice that a couple times. Okay? And once you're comfortable with that, then we can kind of look at a few of the other things we have in the piece. You notice in measure 3, we have a crescendo that goes up to forte, right? And we have that A flat at the beginning of measure 5, which is going to be the peak of our crescendo, okay? So as we're playing those notes, we're thinking about building up to that A flat, right? In the second half of the piece, we have the crescendo in the third and fourth measure of the second line. Same thing, but we're building up to the B flat at the top of that crescendo, okay? So let's practice the first crescendo first. So we're gonna do measure 3, measure 4, and the first note of measure 5, right? So we're doing B flat, E flat, F, G, A flat, okay? And the way that the sticking lines up works out okay if we just start with our left hand on that low note and then alternate from there, right? So B flat, E flat, F, G, A flat with the left, right hand to G, left hand to F, okay? Once we get to that F, we have a little bit of time that we can kind of reset ourselves to get back to B flat for the second half of the piece. So let's try measures 3, 4, and the first measure or the first note of measure 5 as well. Okay, so starting on measure 3, and 1, 2, 3. Okay, and we want to make sure we're getting progressively louder throughout that measure, or throughout that passage. Okay. Now, after you practice that one a couple times, we can go ahead and link that up with the rest of the line there. So once we get to the A flat this time, then we'll go down to G on beat 1, and then F on beat 1 of the following measure. Now you'll notice the A flat at the forte, at the end of our crescendo, is a dotted half note, right? And just to review, remember, anytime we add a dot to a note, we're taking half of the original value of the note and adding it on to that note, right? So if we take half of a half note, that would give us 1 beat, right? So we're gonna take that 1 beat and add it onto the original 2 of the half note, which will give us 3 beats, or a full measure here. So the A flat is gonna last a whole measure, 3 beats. Same thing for the G, 3 beats. And then the F, 3 beats as well, plus it's tied to a quarter note in the next measure. So we're gonna let that ring for 4 total beats when we get to F, okay? All right, so let's try from measure 3 all the way to the end of the first line. And 1, 2, 3. All right. Now, once we get that far, then all we have to do is take it from the beginning, right? Now, there's one little tricky sticking here that we got to figure out, because we know in measure 3, we want to start with our left hand. And so we just need to make sure as we work toward measure 3 that our left hand is available to go to that note, right? So if we start on our left on B flat, play E flat with the right, F with the left in measure 2, then we can play G on beat 3 with the right hand, and our left hand can already be moving down to B flat, right? So we're gonna do left, right, left, right, left, and that'll take us to measure 3, okay? So as you play G with your right hand at the end of measure 2, be moving your left hand back down to B flat, okay? So let's put together the whole first line of the piece. And 1, 2, 3. All right, and you want to be careful with your dynamic at the very beginning of the piece, knowing that we have that crescendo coming up. So we want to make sure our mezzo forte isn't too loud, because we need some room to grow to forte later on, okay? So just be thinking about that as you're starting the piece. So practice that first line a couple times. Once that's nice and comfortable, we can move on to the second line, right? So we'll start on the crescendo in the second line. That's B flat, and then to the F that we worked on earlier, and then G, and then beat 3 of the fourth measure of the second line is an A flat, right? So A flat and then B flat, which is going to be that note at the end of our crescendo, like the highest note that we have in the piece. It's that B flat that sits above the first ledger line on top of the staff, okay? So we're going to play B flat, F, G, A flat, B flat, right? Now that B flat is going to land on our left hand, which is a little bit kind of breaking our sticking rules, because we typically want the highest note to be with our right hand, but right here kind of alternating makes a little bit more sense than playing A flat, B flat, both with the right hand. That would also be an option if that's more comfortable to you, to play A flat, B flat, both with the right. That totally works. For our purposes today, I'm just going to go ahead and alternate that and play that B flat with my left hand, even though that's not what we typically want to do if we can help it. But sometimes the way that music lines up, we can't always have the stickings exactly how we want, and so we kind of have to sacrifice a little bit and make some decisions in that way. Okay, so here's the third measure of the second line. We're going to play all the way to the B flat at the end of the crescendo. And 1, 2, 3. Okay, and you can practice that a couple times. Once it's nice and comfortable, then you can look ahead at the rest of that line. So we go from B flat down to A flat, and then our last note is G, right? And again, those are those same dotted half notes that we talked about earlier. So they're going to be 3 beats each, or a whole measure each, right? And then the last one's going to be a whole measure, 3 beats tied to a quarter note. So 4 total beats. All right. So here we go, from measure 3 of the second line all the way to the end of the piece. And 1, 2, 3. All right, now we can go back to the beginning of the second line and link this up with what we had before. Same sticking that we used at the very beginning of the piece will work here. It's kind of the same pattern, even though the notes are a little bit different. So we're going to start with our left. Right hand plays F, left hand plays G, right hand plays A flat as our left hand is moving back down to the B flat. Okay, so here's the whole second line. And 1, 2, 3. All right, and so practice that as many times as you need to for that line to feel really, really comfortable. And then once you feel good about it, and you've worked out each line in chunks, then we're ready to put the whole thing together, okay? So here we go from the very beginning. We're gonna pay attention to our dynamic at the beginning, making sure we have room to grow to forte. Then we're gonna bring it back down at the end of the first line so that we set ourselves up to be back at mezzo forte when we get to the beginning of the second line, okay? And then we'll crescendo again. All right, here we go all the way through. And 1, 2, 3. All right, so that's number 81. Again, like we always do, we want to warm up with the scale or whatever, and then we want to start taking the piece apart into different chunks, right? Work out the difficult leaps, any tricky rhythms that are unfamiliar, that sort of thing, right? And then slowly piece the whole thing together in chunks until you've worked your way up to the whole thing, right? There's not a specific place to start in every piece. You kind of have to find your own way, usually starting with the most difficult portions of the piece and then working your way forward and backward from there until you put the whole thing together. All right? So happy practicing, and I'll see you next time.